County effectively split in half by the Cuyahoga River, and we're going to get the old concendus district back, plus some areas, and Marcia's going to get most of eastern Cuyahoga County, east of the river, plus or minus some.
I don't think we can tell what's going to happen with the new districts in 2020.
Well, number one, we're losing one. We're losing a congressional district.
We will.
Going down to 15.
But I'm not concerned about Marcia's longevity.
Well, I'm talking about the district. So, George, I don't know what Marcia's district number is.
I think she's 9. Let me double check.
Because I know you've brought up Marcia's district to me repeatedly, saying that if we do this bipartisan, non-gerrymandered redistricting of the maps, that Marcia would have the potential to lose her racially packed district.
You have to look, when maps are drawn, the first place the first criteria that's put in place is majority minority districts, the Voter Rights and Civil Rights Act. That's where they start. So they start drawing that district, or they'll start drawing the Columbus district or Cincinnati or Toledo, not the captive Toledo district, but they start drawing that way. Then what happens is the surrounding districts are shaped by that district, and that's where you start getting some districts that don't look right, because if you look where you start, you have to start somewhere. That's where they start. So that's why that district. So I bring that up only to point out that they can no longer draw an African American majority district out of her current district, because the African American population has moved from her district.
So are you concerned that part of a non-racially dominant community will be put into a racially dominant district? Because you always bring up Marcia's district, and I just don't, I'm not following the logic.
I can bring up Cynthia McKinney's district, old district in Georgia, same thing. Atlanta.
But we're here in Ohio, so I just don't understand why that's a concern.
Because I'm bringing up.
I want to put an end to gerrymandering, and I feel confident that we'll be able to do that and still fulfill the National Voter Rights Act.
I'm just giving you, you're right, I always mention Marcia's district. I'm going to expand it to another district that I'm familiar with in Georgia, all right, which is where I live. Cynthia McKinney's old district had eastern Atlanta and Augusta, and Interstate 20 was the connector, because they had to draw a minority-majority district. That's how that district was drawn. Same principle applies with Marcia Fudge's district. Now, with Capter's district, like, I'm not in the room when those maps are being drawn.
So let me just back up. So you're saying that there's a really wonky shaped district to accommodate the National Voter Rights Act.
Yeah.
And
right.
so I agree that there is, but how does that apply to trying to stop partisan gerrymandering here in Ohio?
It doesn't. And that's where my argument was going. When you start with the guidelines that you have to start with, you get districts that are drawn in a non-compact. It's not 750,000. Just use that number. It's around 750. There's a deviation. They don't draw 750,000 people based on geography. There are certain criteria that have to be met. When you start going through and meeting those criteria, that's where the districts start looking in an odd shape. And so that's why
I would disagree. I think there's really clear evidence that these districts have been gerrymandered for the political gain of the political party in power, whether it been the Democrats when they were in power or Republicans now that they are in power. Governor Kasich wants to have gerrymandering put an end to here in Ohio. Just because there's a racially designed district in the state of Ohio, I don't think that precludes us from needing to stop partisan gerrymandering in the state of Ohio.
I don't disagree with every statement you've made, except for the ultimate decision as to how the districts are drawn. That's my question. Let's go here first.
So I don't claim to have the knowledge that you folks have about this. Clearly, you both know a lot about this, and that's awesome, and I'm really impressed. But just as an ordinary citizen who knows a little bit about this, and understanding that less than half the population